Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Network Hour podcast. I am your host, Molly Crease, and I'm so excited to be shooting the first video for this podcast of 2023. Happy New Year, everyone, and I hope everyone have started off the new year on a great note. Today, we're just going to be shooting the breeze, as people say, but we are going to be talking about some good stuff. So first, I'm going to be talking about reset, or it's all about resetting for 2023. And we are going to look back in 2022 because at some point you have to look back in order to move forward. So for me, I would say 2022 was a year of opportunities, it was a year of challenges, it was a stressful year, and all of those things combined because for a couple of years now, so much have been going on in the world. We've gone through a pandemic that is still somewhat here, but we are back to some sort of normalcy where we are back in the offices, we are back out, going out, doing things, going to the movies, all of that stuff, enjoying ourselves. But yet, still, we still have COVID, we have monkeypox, and all those other stuff going on. So that is a stress in itself. And then you pile on top of that the stress of the news, whether it be someone getting killed, someone being kidnapped, whether it's being racism, anti-Semitism. Then you talk about politics, the Republicans not doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're infighting with Democrats, stuff not going there they're supposed to, infringing on human rights. There was Roe v. Wade, and all of this stuff going on. So it's been a lot of stress in the world. There's been an uptick in suicides in young black men. You've seen people saying, I can't take this anymore. And so they just want to be done from this earth. And so mental health is something that is really, we didn't focus on before in the past, but we have to really focus on it now because mental health is very important. And we see, I tell you all, it's not easy living in this world. As a human being, it is not easy living in this world. And I guess that's the reason why God says, and the Bible says, this world is not your home. We're just passing through it. And we have to ask God for grace and ask Him for provisions, ask Him for health, ask Him for strength in our minds, in our inner man, and in our beings, so that we have that strength to continue to go on and to move through this world that He has created for us. So that was 2022. For the challenges. I would say challenges in my business of getting things to the level of where I want them to go to. And I would say I always put down big goals because if you don't reach beyond the stars, if you fall, you're not going to fall too far down. And so it's important for you to put those big goals. Don't be afraid to put down those big goals. I'm happy to say some of those goals came to pass in 2022. I was able to gain clients in my business, able to do workshops, able to network, able to collaborate with some great people. And so that was my better part of 2022, also spending time with family and getting back to me and who I am and getting back to some self-care. So that was really important. And also, let's see, I talk about the challenges of really putting yourself out there, the challenges of overcoming self doubt and imposter syndrome, because so many times we go through this where we're doing something, we know that we are an expert at something, we know that we can do something, and even doing it in the back of your mind, you're like, am I doing this correctly? Are people going to listen to me? Do they want to hear what I have to say? So putting aside that self-doubt, that imposter syndrome, and really honing in on what you have to offer, value. And so it's all about creating a positive impact so that when you leave this earth, you leave something positive that people can carry on. So I would say that's a nutshell that's it in a nutshell for 2022. So let's talk about 2023. And I really want us to talk about reset because at some point you have to push that reset button and reset certain things within your life to move into that new year. And I don't believe so much. I used to believe on a New Year resolution, and every New Year I would make a resolution. And you know what happened? I never followed through with it. So I am of the belief now that it makes no sense me um, putting down a New Year resolution because I'm just gonna flip over it. So what I do is that I make goals, and I create SMART goals, specific, measurable, attainable goals, right? And also, you do have those goals that might not be attainable within that year, but you're working towards attaining those goals. Like I said, don't be afraid to put those big goals down. So, I prefer to put goals down. And when you're talking about resetting, one thing that you have to do is to make a mental declutter. Declutter your mind, declutter your mental space. And the reason for doing that, I just mentioned to you all the challenges, all the stresses of 2022. If you take that into 2023, it's going to be a hindrance for you going forward. So you have to declutter your mind. And I must say, I have this gift that my sister gave to me. It like I would want to say about 3, 4 years ago. She gave this to me, and it's called. I mean, you might not be able to see it clearly, but it's called the bitch box. And what I do is that when things stress me out and when I start getting really stressed, what I do is that I write it on here and then I put it in the bitch box, right? So I get it out of my mind and I put it in the bitch box. And I remember one of the things I had wrote on here. Remember when that year when it was the George Floyd and all this stuff, and I put policemen. I was so I was so upset. I wrote on here, policemen suck and it's just white people suck. Black Lives Matter, right? I was going through it at that time, and so this bitch box allows me to bitch about something, write it down, forget about it, and then put it in the box and put it away, right? Because if I keep thinking about it all day, then I won't be able to get any work done. And so, whatever process you want to use in decluttering your mind, your mental space, I want you to do that. Whether you want to write it down in a journal, whether you want to put it down on a notepad, on a piece of paper, crunch it up, and then throw it in the bin, I want you to do that. Once you do it, you throw it away and you clear your mind of it. Declutter your mental space. Once you declutter that mental space, then you need something to fill it, right? So now you need to fill it with happy thoughts. You need to fill it with positive affirmations. You need to fill it with goals. You need to fill it with positive thinking and adopting that positive mindset. And once you do that, then you see that you have a space where you can think clearly. You can finally start writing that book. You can finally start putting your thoughts down, putting your goals down of what you want to achieve and what you want to accomplish. So declutter, 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 and do it as soon as possible. Right? Another thing I want you to do when you're resetting for this new year is to audit the year before. Like I said, you cannot go forward if you don't look back and see your challenges. So I would say do a SWOT analysis. It's a SWOT analysis. You write down your strengths, your weaknesses, the opportunities, and the threats. And you write down what were some of the strengths in 2022 that you can keep for 2023, okay? What were those weaknesses? What were those things that you could have worked on, that you could have really paid attention to and work on, and that you need to really work on for 2023? Okay? And then the opportunities. What opportunities did you leave on the table in 2020 through in 2022 that you can go back and take advantage of in 2023? And what new opportunities can you realize and you can look at and say, okay, this can be done for 2023? And I want you to assess the threats. What are the threats out there? And how can you combat those threats? Do you need to adopt more positive thinking? Do you need to change your behavior? Do you need to change your mindset? Do you need to change your approach? Do you need to change your circle? Because I will tell you this, that some people come into your life only for a season. And the problem we have is that we try to prolong that season and then it bites us in the ass and then we complain about it. Oh, she didn't this, she didn't that, he didn't this, he didn't that. It's because you prolonged the season. And so do not prolong that season. When somebody comes into your life, recognize when the season is over and move forward. Take an audit of your tribe, of the people around you. If they're not adding value to you, then you might need to let them go. You might need to say, this season is over. This too shall pass. And adopt more positive thinking people within your circle, because I tell you, you cannot pour from an empty cup. And I've realized that I'm someone who is very empathic. I'm someone who loves to help people naturally. I will help you. I will have you on my platform. I will do everything for you. And the problem is, in doing that, I also neglect myself and my own needs. And for 2023, I have realized that Molly Crease, you cannot pour and fill someone else's cup and then your cup is empty. So we're not doing that in 2023. We're making sure that our cup is filled, that we have food on our table before we can feed someone else. Because if you are no good to yourself, then you can be no good to anyone else. So I want you to take an audit of 2022 and see where you need improvement in 2023 to move forward in yourself, in your life, and also in your business. Next step, assess those goals. We all have goals. And in 2022, you had goals. And you might not have achieved all of those goals. Do not be discouraged. Do not be disheartened. Some goals take time. Some goals take 5 years. Some goals take 10 years. Some goals take 15 years. But you have to work at it. You can't just write a goal down and expect God to drop something from the sky for you and you don't put in the work. There's a process, there's work for you to put in. So when you put those goals down, put some action items to them. You want to be a business owner, if that's a goal. What are the action items? When are you going to go out and get the EIN? What's the business name? When are you going to do the logo? What is your business about? What is your target audience? What is your niche? All these steps, you got to write them down. You can't just say, oh, I want to do a business and then sit back. No one's going to do it for you. You have to do it for yourself. So when you write those goals down, put some action items towards them so that when you go through them, you can tick them off and say, I did that. Yeah, I did that too. And oh, I did that and I did that too. And listen to me. Once you start ticking off, I want you to celebrate. Celebrate every last one of those suckers. Celebrate every last one of those points. Whether you take a drink, whether you go out with friends, whether you celebrate with your colleague, if you have a partner, you celebrate with your partner, whether you celebrate your family, celebrate those wins, because it is important for us to know that we are going somewhere, we are growing, and we are stepping up from step one. We've gotten to step two, step three, step four. You need to celebrate that. Remember to celebrate yourself, because there's some people out there that's not going to celebrate you. They're going to be jealous of you. They're going to see what you're doing and they're going to try to compare themselves, and they're going to be angry at you because you're moving forward, but then they don't know what you had to go through back there to reach up here and to move forward. So it doesn't matter what people think, it doesn't matter what people say. Don't let those negative thoughts creep into your head. When you've accomplished, celebrate that win and move forward and go to the next point, go to the next step. So that's what you do to achieve those goals that you've marked down. And those goals that you haven't accomplished, don't fret. You might just need to collaborate with someone. You might just need to seek out some help. Sometimes we are so afraid to ask for help. We cannot do everything on our own. And I know sometimes in the black community, we have that mentality of the crab in the barrel mentality. We are getting away from that and we are helping each other. We are helping each other move forward, because when we help each other move forward, our community grows, our community builds, and we all can eat, and we all can be stepping towards the top. So forget about that. Find some people that's going to be a part of that tribe. Find your mentors, find your sponsors, find your champions. You know how many champions I have? I might not even be in that room of negotiations, but my champion is there, and he or she is going to call my name and say, Molly is fit for this position, Molly is fit for this partnership, Molly is fit for this contract. I have those champions rallying for me and calling my name when I'm not in those meeting rooms, when I'm not in those boardrooms. You gotta get those people under your belt. So when you're thinking about building your tribe and building your network, make sure you have some mentors in there. Make sure you have some sponsors in there. Make sure you have some champions in there. Make sure you have quality people. Make sure you don't have leeches. You don't have people that's just going to suck you dry, but you have those people that's going to minister into your life. And it's not just all about professionalism. Have that prophet in your life. Have that pastor in your life who is going to minister to you, who is going to pray for you, and who is going to line you up for great things. Because God placed us on this earth for great things. He's placed us on this earth for us to accomplish so much. So much. And it would be a disservice for you to limit yourself because you are afraid, or limit yourself because you have allowed the wrong people to be around you. So assess your network, assess your tribe, see who is valuable to you and who is not, and don't be afraid to cut them off. Sometimes you got to do the trimmings, you got to do the clippings. Okay? And once you do the trimmings and you do the clippings, then you are able to see clearly. Sometimes the people in our lives hide our vision. We're not able to see things properly because they hide our vision. Right? I remember one time in school, I was in school in grad school, and I had an idea for a business. The problem I did was tell a friend, someone who I thought was a friend. And after telling that person, I was so sadly disappointed because the words that came out of their mouth was discouraging, disheartening, disappointing. It was pulling me down. It was saying, you can't do that. You can't. That was, by the time I was done with that conversation, I personally myself believed that I couldn't. And you have, for the new year, I want you to watch out for those people, because they will pull you down because they don't want you to succeed or don't want you to go anywhere. And once God placed a vision in your heart, once God placed something within you to do something, do not allow anyone to distract you from what He's placed in your heart to do. And I'm saying that to encourage someone today to take that leap of faith. You've always wanted to do something. You've always wanted to create that business. You've seen yourself in a corner office in corporate, if that's what you want. You've seen yourself being a judge. You've seen yourself being a lawyer. You've seen yourself buying a house. All those things that you've seen for yourself, you can accomplish them if you put your mind to it. And if you put God at the forefront and at the center of everything that you're doing. So assess those goals. Also make new ones. Make new goals all the time. And they must be bigger and higher, because we want to strive for bigger. We want to strive for growth. We want to strive for advancement. And again, this is not only in your professional life, this is in your personal life. If your goal is to be married and to have a family, that's a goal. If your goal is to be better self, maybe you've not concentrated on yourself enough. You've not paid attention to your self care. You've let yourself go. You need to get yourself back in the gym. You need to start eating healthier. Maybe you haven't had a doctor's checkup in years. That is something you might need to do. Talking to myself here, I need to do that. Um, I need to go get my mammogram done and all of that stuff. These are things that you need to get done. Write them down, put a date to them. Say, I'm going to do it this time. And make sure you hold yourself accountable. Okay? And also make sure you give yourself grace. Sometimes we are our hardest critic. And when we don't get something done or when we don't do something, we pull ourselves down. And that is when you get into that mental space of feeling like you're not good enough, feeling like you can't do this, feeling like you don't want to be here anymore because it's too hard. When you get into that mental space, call someone. Call that mentor, call that sponsor, call that champion, call that person that you have in your network and let them pour back into you. Let them feed back into you so that you can get that energy back to go on and to move on and to continue being the great person, that positive self that you are. You don't have to do it alone. No man is an island. So you don't have to. You don't have to do it alone. You do not have to do it alone. And that's my little bit. I mean, it's 2023. This is the first episode of our podcast for 2023 for the Network Hour. There's gonna be more episodes coming. We're gonna be getting real with my guests. We're gonna be talking a lot about the professional life, but we're also gonna be talking about personal life, because if your personal life is not good, your professional life is, even if it's great, it's going to be sucking from your personal life and it's going to suck you dry, and you're not going to be good for yourself. If you're not good for yourself, you're not good for anyone. So we're going to get down into those real topics. We're going to be talking about mental health, talking about what we go through in all of these spaces, talking about myself as a Black woman and how I navigate and go through all of these things. And we're going to be having some great discussions, and we're going to be posting on all platforms so that we can get the message out there. But I just want to say to you guys, there is a shift happening. And if you allot yourself to it, if you align yourself correctly, and if you allow yourself to dream and to build on those goals, you are going to see what God's going to do. You are going to see success. Finally, things are going to come to pass. Finally, things are going to happen. And you're going to sit and you're going to smile. That job that you're looking for, 2, 3, 4 is going to come into your inbox where you can choose. That business that you have and looking to go from one level to another, just work your goals, work your action items, and you're going to see growth. You're going to see advancement. Start networking. Start networking with people that have done it, that's doing it. Get some idols. Get some people that you can look up to that's been doing it, that will help you, that will motivate you, that will push you into spaces of success, right? Get under those people that are making and preparing a seat at the table for you. And you're going to see your life change. It's going to grow. Things don't happen overnight. Sometimes some goals take more work than others. But as long as you're working at it, as long as you're putting in the work, you are going to see results. So I just want to leave this with you today. Don't be afraid to look back, assess, hit that reset button, and then start moving forward into your goals. Start moving forward into your purpose. Start moving forward into that calling for your life and be the great and fabulous person that I know you are. This is another episode of the Network Hour podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Please like, share, subscribe, and until next time, have a wonderful and blessed and prosperous new year.